what you're dreaming, for the warrior spirit lives on, and it is so, so, so strong in the earth, in the trees, in the rocks, in the water, in your blood, in the air we breathe, soldier on.
Hey guys, so I'm in Hamburg. We are staying in an Airbnb close to the biggest nature reserve in Hamburg. I did that on purpose because I spend so much time in nature, and so does Fritzy. And our son will grow up in nature, so best his first weeks are spent walking around in nature. And Spirit immediately allowed its presence to be known. My first day, I arrived on the morning, I was exhausted, I mentioned I wasn't very well, and Fritzy and I went for an evening walk. Now, this stretch is a stretch of woodland, there's a river here, and there are wild deer, but people never see them. They just don't see them, even people who live here don't see them. And my first night, my first walk, Fritzy and I walked to the river, and there were 3 deer just by the river taking a drink. Wild deer in Hamburg, and I knew it was Spirit. It always happens. I always see the best of nature. I always see the best sights wherever I go, and I know it's Spirit saying, hey, it's okay, be still. And why would I deserve that? Doesn't sound like such a big gift. Well, when you've lived like I have in Tanzania for so long, the city really forces your mind to flip-flop. It makes your mind busy. There's always a noise of traffic, there's aeroplanes taking off, there's adverts everywhere, there's all these new abilities to eat these foods and the desire for those, because you get the only basic options in Tanzania. And it all comes at once, and the first few days are very difficult. And I thought I'd speak about that, because obviously I'm here now calming myself and getting into my center. But in general, I want to talk about what's going on with the mind when it does that, because the mind's flip-flopping you. Flip-flopping is not a good term, but the mind is trying to take ownership. And let me discuss how that works with the mind. Now, here and now in this present moment, I'm very conscious of the fact that my 5 senses are operating without me. My touch is operating without me, my smell, my hearing. I'm taking the vibrations in the air and making them into sound, and there's no influence from what I would call me to do that. I'm not having to do anything. It just happens. It's just happening to me, through me, from me. I'm taking the light and creating the reflections of the light from this matter and creating images. Taking the light of the sun and making the light of the sun light. But I'm not doing it. My mind is not doing that. My senses do that on their own. Now, what the mind will try to do is take that input and own it. It wants to take that input. It wants to take the reflection of the light of this tree in front of me, and it wants to call it a tree. Now, of course, in our world, in our language, in our matrix of language, it is a tree. But here in the present moment, that's giving the mind ownership over it. Because you're giving a thought, you're allowing the mind to assign one of its symbols and sounds to that object. And this is what the battle with the mind is. It's realizing that the mind's trying to find its own ownership over all of the sensory input in your body, but it doesn't need to have it. As sounds come into you, you don't need to label what they are. I don't need to say there's a bird singing, there's this happening, there's this happening. And it's the same if you're listening to music. You don't want to name every note, every instrument. This is going to spoil the music. And thus the mind doesn't try to do it on purpose, but tries to spoil the environment around you by spoiling your alignment to the present moment. Because in its filtration system, in its ignorance of its filtration system, it wants to own the input. But the problem you have with it wanting to own the input is, for instance, when some input comes in that it wants to own, that can then lead you to attract a thought train that can lead you to behaviors that are not going to be of your highest worth. For instance, you might go through the city and you see a big advertisement of a beautiful woman in underwear. Tanzania, you wouldn't see that. And you don't see women wearing clothing like that in Tanzania, but here in the West you do. Now I'm grateful I've got years of meditation practice under my belt and it doesn't bother me so much. But as a younger man, when I saw such an image, indeed it could lead to a thought train. Indeed, if you see a young woman dressed provocatively, it automatically stimulates inside a man the possibility for thoughts to wander in a direction that are not conducive of the higher self. And that's why we have to learn at the very base, simplest of levels, to ensure that the mind never dictates its ownership over the workings of the five senses. And that's one of the first stages with overcoming the mind, by finding union with the mind. Because when you allow the five senses to fuse as one, now it doesn't mean that you push them down and punish them. What it means is you just allow them to be happening to you. You allow them to be happening, and then you take away the intruder, the mind. You don't let the mind own that input. So you don't allow the mind to own the input, which means the mind can't wander and lead you into behaviors which will make you delve into, or thought patterns that will delve into, the lower self. And when that happens, you can live very present-mindedly. And living very present-mindedly is a necessity in this world. Because in that present moment, in the infinite present moment, that's where you find the love. That's where you find God, that's where you find all of it. That's where you find life. That's where you are truly alive. The idea of future and past, they're necessary, but when you dwell in them, it severs you from living. The true vibrance of life is here, in this moment. And it's not that you're living a spiritual life. It's not that you're living a physical or a material life, because the actual truth is the fact that the mind is moving creates those concepts. You can say, oh, I'm living a spiritual life at the moment, I'm pursuing my spiritual good. But in actual fact, all you're doing is you're aligning with the present moment and moving through the present moment with the guidance of divine synchronicity or divine timing, or the whispers of the frequency of the present moment of consciousness. When you say you're living a spiritual life, you've created a concept. Your mind has created the idea, the concept. And it's the same if you say our person's too physically focused. It's a concept inside the human perception. Whereas no matter what is going on, with those concepts or without those concepts, you are always happening in that moment. And because you are always happening in that moment, no matter what thoughts you label, this way or that way, I wondered if my spirit bird would come. There you have it. A spirit animal. To someone else you might just say it's a bird landing. It's not. It's Creator. Creator saying, I'm with you. It just landed while I was talking to you all. And it's a time where I need comfort, and it brings me great comfort. So so the mind wants to own the input of your 5 senses. And when you silence the mind completely, totally, you see. You see that the mind can't describe this. The mind can't navigate it well. And you see that you're not spiritual, you're not physical. These are concepts of your mind. The mind gives movement to all things. It wants to give movement to all things. You see a leaf blowing in the wind. You ask yourself, is the leaf blowing or is it the wind blowing? And it's neither, it's the mind moving. It's the mind. When you understand the mind in that way, then you can do as was instructed. Take no thought. You can align with spirit. You can live as our ancient ancestors did on this planet. You can live a world of spiritual intuition, which is a concept to describe probably the natural way we were supposed to be. Here, now. It's difficult in a world that wants you to be anywhere but. But go out in nature and look. Seek spirit. And the correct angle of light will come to the correct being at the correct time. And an angel will come in the form of a bird and bring you great comfort on a day where your mind is also busy, as you've just witnessed. Love you guys. Bye.
Spirit bird, she creaks and groans, she knows she has seen this all before. She has seen this all before. She has. Spirit bird, she creaks and groans, she knows she has seen this all before. She has seen this all before. She has. Slowly we fade, slowly it fades.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, as it really helps us to grow the channel and with it help more children here in Tanzania. Also, don't forget you can support our work by sharing with children in crisis here, be it sharing for a particular need or even sharing one-on-one support for education, housing, food and medical care. It can be done for as little as the cost of a cup of coffee a week back in the West after all. Just visit www.sharetanzania.co.uk to find out more. Lastly, remember you can also support us via Patreon, www.patreon.com/featherstail, and help keep us here in Tanzania to continue our work. The links for the website and for the Patreon are in the description box of this video. Love and light, guys. See you soon.